I'm back. I shut the laptop down and I had to load the laptop back up because Liverpool, it's not ended as much as well as you thought it would have. Because Marc Guehi remains at Crystal Palace. Yes, people, it seemed it was signed. It seemed it was sealed. It seemed it was delivered. But Crystal Palace and the magic of the transfer window, they had other ideas. Oliver Glasner had other ideas. He said Marc Guehi is going to stay here because if he goes, I walk. And now Liverpool, that perfect window, that perfect picture, that painting that you had at Anfield ready to say it was a 10 out of 10. Well, now, Arsenal fans, you are licking your lips because definitely, for sure, you are back in this title race. That Guehi signing, put it in Liverpool's favour. The striker, the midfielder, the two fullbacks, the centre-back. It was a dream. It was a fairy tale, but not no longer. Not no more. Arsenal, for me, can now take this Premier League title. And yes, you might be like, how can you say this after just one transfer? It's because that transfer made so much difference. The centre-back of Guehi, the striker signing of Isak, they would have been Liverpool's best two signings of this transfer window. They would have made the difference. They would have made the edge. They would have taken Liverpool to the depths of the deep blue sea where there's no catching them. But now, well, what happens, people? Because Alexander Isak is signed, but Marc Guehi hasn't. And the way Liverpool have been defensively this season, I know that there's Liverpool fans out there that have a little grumbling feeling in their tummy that, yeah, we needed that one. That was the deal. That was the perfect signature to say, yeah, we can defend this Premier League title. But now Arsenal fans are going to be looking at it saying, we know that Liverpool team are not great defensively. We know that we are. And now I see these two going at it until the end of May 2026. What happened, people? Well, Crystal Palace were obviously trying to get a centre-back in through the door. The time ran out. The deal sheet went through. But Guehi remains. And one journalist has already come out and said Oliver Glasner went as far to say that if Marc Guehi had left, he would offer his resignation at Crystal Palace. And there's parts of me that believe this because he made it clear after the win against Aston Villa that if Marc Guehi was to leave the club and we didn't have the suitable replacement in, I would be very disappointed. I made an agreement in March with Steve Parish and the owners that if Guehi was to leave, we need to get a replacement in early. We need to have them in ready for pre-season so I can bed them in, I can believe in this squad, and I can get that position sorted out. But Oliver Glasner said, nah, not on deadline day. You can't do this on deadline day, leaving me without my club captain for the rest of the season after the performance against Aston Villa, after winning the Community Shield, and after winning the FA Cup. And you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him because what Marc Guehi is to Crystal Palace, he's everything. They've already lost Eberichi Eze, by the way, their main creative outlet, their main spark from midfield to attack. They could not afford to lose their captain, their leader, their presence at the back, and try and replace him with just somebody for the sake of something. When you're on an unbeaten run of 14 games, you're back in Europe, and you're trying to break in the top 10 again of the Premier League. I feel Glasner. I understand it 100%. Crystal Palace is not that team that have gone out and spent a lot of money this summer. They've not got exactly the biggest squad. They've not got exactly the biggest reinforcements. And one thing that they haven't got is a replacement for Marc Guehi. So for the Crystal Palace now to keep him for one more year and they lose him on a free next year, I'm sure that their fans are like, do you know what? We'll take that. We made our money for Eze. We got a good amount of money for him. But now we've got Mateta, we've got Sarr, we've got Guehi, we've got Adam Wharton, at least for one more year. And do you know what as well? Losing Guehi on a free to Liverpool next summer won't hurt as much because they're going to be able to demand at least 80 million for Adam Wharton when Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, whoever it is, come sniffing for that number 6. Because Adam Wharton's brilliant. And he deserves to be at a bigger club next season because he is that Michael Carrick 2.0. But what does this now mean for Liverpool? Well, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be slightly worried because you've lost Jarrell Quansah. Joe Gomez, you can't rely on him to stay fit. And now you've got Virgil van Dijk at his older age playing 2 games a week. You've got Ibrahim Konate, who's got one head in Spain, who leaves on a free transfer at the end of the season. You haven't exactly got the reinforcements and the backups you need when it comes to a long season like this. Champions League, Premier League, trying to win both. Because that's what Liverpool fans will want. That's what Isak will want. That's what Florian Wirtz will want. That's what Mohamed Salah will want. They will want to go for it all. But I now feel that that saying of defence win titles and goals win you games will apply to Liverpool. Because already we've seen against Bournemouth, shaky. Against Newcastle, 10 men, shaky. Against Arsenal, getting a draw, got bailed out with Szoboszlai free kick. Liverpool have not been great in these first few games of the season. And defensively, I think that's where it starts. You've got Kirk that's coming from Bournemouth. A new signing that I really like, a Robertson 2.0, up and down the wing. Flying, energy, tenacious. 1, they're not getting the best out of Kirkers. And 2, he is a bit vulnerable because now he's demanded to win every game. He's got to step up. And I don't think he's yet acclimatized to Liverpool. You've got Frimpong, out injured at the moment. Out for maybe, a few weeks after the international break. He'll be back. But they've got a bed in now, 2 new fullbacks, and then keeping Konate and Van Dijk both fit because Gomez, unfortunately, is not the same player that they once signed with the talent. When he's fit, he's a good player. His cameo against Arsenal was top, but you can't rely on that. And now I believe that Liverpool shakiness at the back is going to continue. I felt like Guehi was that guy they needed. Can play on the left side, composed on the ball, quick, recovery pace, leader, captain, winner now. That was the centre-back spark. Him, Konate and Van Dijk, I'm thinking rock solid. That could challenge Gabriel and Saliba for the best centre-back partnership in the league. Not no more. Konate, I do rate him. But I just don't know if he's going to be able to stay fit and consistent enough for the whole season. Van Dijk, I think he's one of the best centre-backs the Premier League's ever seen. But we don't know if he's going to be able to sustain his levels game in, game out with the physical demands now and these young players that are coming to try and take on Liverpool. Because teams don't fear Liverpool now. You can see it already. Teams are thinking, we can get at you. So Liverpool's formula is going to be, I need to score more than you score against us. Because I don't think defensively they're going to be able to rely on keeping clean sheets and being dogged like Arsenal can over a long campaign. Liverpool have to score goals now. Alexander Isak has to deliver with the big transfer fee. Mohamed Salah now needs to step up after a poor start to the season, despite getting 1 goal and 1 assist. But I do now believe that this puts the window and the corridor open for Arsenal to now potentially land their first Premier League title in over 20 years. Because we know they're lean and mean in defence. We know that they'll grind out wins. We know they'll score goals. They nearly got a great draw away at Anfield the other day. But Liverpool have already shown the vulnerability to Newcastle, 2-0 up, to Bournemouth, 2-0 up. I'm just leaving it out there, people. I think this deal collapsing was huge. I think that deal goes through and everyone says Liverpool have got one hand on the title because they've just sorted out the main foundations of their team. The spine, the cam, the striker, the centre-back. But now, 1 injury at the back for Liverpool in central defence, and there's going to be questions asked. And will they have the answers? I don't know. I do not know. And this is major. It's big for Crystal Palace because they get to keep their English star centre-back, their captain, their leader. Fair play to Crystal Palace. Now you can go and enjoy your season and look ahead to summer next year where you recoup some of that money with Adam Morton and you replace Guehi because you've got time to do that now. But for Liverpool, they are going to be tested. There's going to be question marks asked over this centre-back partnership. And the big demand for me for Ibrahim Konate is, can he stay fit? Can he stay reliable? Because Liverpool needs you more than ever. What do you guys think of this? How do you think this impacts Liverpool's season? I'm so intrigued for you guys to let me know because this deal collapsing, I did not expect it. The deal was agreed at lunchtime. I thought it was a formality that Crystal Palace would go out and get Igor Jesus or Pavlovic from AC Milan, but no, they didn't. And none of them are the levels of Guehi anyway. So Liverpool, you left it too late. You made that mistake. You had all summer to make a bid, to make an offer, and give Crystal Palace time. But that was a schoolboy error. You can't go and poach England's best centre-back on the last day of the season with a team that's unbeaten, FA Cup Community Shield winners back in Europe. You only have yourself to blame. But what happens next in the chapter of Liverpool Football Club in that defence in the Premier League, we'll all be watching closely because they will score goals. But can they keep the goals out? We will find out. Guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. The Marc Guehi deal has collapsed. Liverpool now only have 3 centre-backs. Will that be enough? Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.